de-dollarization seemed to be accelerating, causing the dollar's influence to wane. But now, Russia has taken an unexpected U-turn. Why the shift, and why now? In a surprising twist during an interview on Thursday, Russian President Vladimir Putin revealed that Russia won't completely abandon the US dollar, even as the BRICS nations continue to push hard for de-dollarization. So, what's behind this sudden change of heart? And could it be linked to the recent elections? Let's find out. Russia's recent announcement sounds as if Russia is no longer aligning with BRICS plans. But is that so? What has driven the BRICS alliance to push for de-dollarization, and where does Russia's recent statement fit in? The BRICS nations have long harbored ambitions of reducing their reliance on the US dollar. This strategy isn't just about economic independence. It's a geopolitical move aimed at reshaping global financial power dynamics. The dominance of the US dollar has given Washington considerable leverage over the global financial system, allowing it to impose sanctions and control international trade flows with relative ease. For the BRICS nations, particularly Russia and China, this influence represents a significant threat to their sovereignty. Over the years, BRICS has taken gradual steps to reduce its dependence on the dollar. This includes using local currencies for bilateral trade agreements, developing alternative financial infrastructure, and even exploring the creation of a unified BRICS currency. The October 2024 BRICS summit was a turning point, with members emphasizing their commitment to de-dollarization. Countries like India and China have already increased the use of their local currencies in international trade, while Brazil has deepened its economic ties with China using the yuan instead of the dollar. However, Putin's recent statement has added a layer of complexity to this narrative. While affirming that Russia is reducing its reliance on the dollar, he clarified that this effort isn't about entirely abandoning the greenback. Instead, Russia sees this as a strategic recalibration rather than an outright rejection. "We are simply refusing to use the dollar as a settlement tool," Putin explained, hinting at a more gradual approach than what BRICS hardliners might have envisioned. But why, after years of pushing for de-dollarization, would Russia choose not to abandon the dollar completely? Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Africa's geopolitics, economy, and changing landscape. Let's continue now. The re-election of Donald Trump has sent ripples across the geopolitical landscape, and nowhere is this more evident than in the BRICS bloc. Trump, known for his unpredictable foreign policy, has hinted at a possible easing of sanctions on Russia. During his previous term, Trump maintained a somewhat conciliatory stance towards Moscow, despite strong opposition from within the US political establishment. Now, with Trump back in the Oval Office, Russia sees an opportunity to recalibrate its economic strategy. Putin's recent comments can be seen as a calculated move in response to Trump's re-election. By choosing not to completely abandon the dollar, Russia leaves the door open for a potential thaw in US-Russia relations. If Trump were to lift or reduce sanctions, it could provide significant relief to the Russian economy, which has been hamstrung by years of Western sanctions. By maintaining some flexibility with the dollar, Russia ensures that it can quickly pivot should the geopolitical winds shift in its favor. Additionally, Trump's potential willingness to negotiate with Russia contrasts sharply with the Biden administration's hardline stance. This creates an opening for Putin to explore economic cooperation with the US, while continuing to support the BRICS bloc's long-term de-dollarization goals. The statement that, "Our proposals are not aimed against the dollar," is a diplomatic olive branch, suggesting that Russia is open to cooperation if the US adjusts its policies. Additionally, Trump's potential willingness to negotiate with Russia contrasts sharply with the Biden administration's hardline stance. While Russia's stance may appear contradictory, it is, in fact, a nuanced strategy that balances its commitments to BRICS with the practical realities of global finance. Let's explore how this fits into BRICS' broader ambitions to develop an alternative financial system. One of the cornerstones of the BRICS alliance's strategy is the development of an independent payment system that reduces reliance on the US-controlled SWIFT network. This initiative has gained momentum in recent years, particularly after Western sanctions on Russia highlighted the vulnerabilities of the global financial system. The idea is to create a unified BRICS payment system that allows member states to transact in local currencies, thereby insulating themselves from the fluctuations and pressures of the dollar-dominated system. During the October summit, the BRICS nations discussed integrating their existing payment infrastructures to create a seamless system for financial transactions. According to Putin, this involves using the technological groundwork already in place in each member country. For example, China's CIPS cross-border interbank payment system and India's UPI unified payments interface could serve as foundational elements for a BRICS-wide payment network. The goal isn't just economic independence, but also a rebalancing of global financial power. If successful, this system could encourage other nations, particularly in Africa and Asia, to join the BRICS framework, thus gradually eroding the dollar's dominance. However, Russia's decision to maintain some level of engagement with the dollar indicates that the shift will be gradual rather than abrupt. As Putin noted, the payments in dollars are decreasing, but it's a step-by-step process. This measured approach allows BRICS to strengthen its alternative systems without triggering a full-scale economic confrontation with the West. It's a strategy of gradual erosion rather than outright confrontation, ensuring that the global economy remains stable during the transition. While the development of a BRICS payment system is a long-term project, the immediate focus remains on reducing the influence of the dollar on global trade. But how does this align with the alliance's broader geopolitical ambitions? The de-dollarization strategy isn't just about financial independence. It's about redefining the global balance of power. For decades, the dominance of the US dollar has allowed Washington to wield unparalleled influence over global trade and finance. By reducing reliance on the dollar, BRICS aims to create a more multipolar world where financial sovereignty is restored to individual nations. However, the path to de-dollarization is fraught with challenges. The US, aware of the threat to its financial hegemony, has doubled down on its sanctions regime, using access to the dollar as a weapon against countries that defy its interests. Yet, the more the US weaponizes the dollar, the more incentive BRICS nations have to seek alternatives. Putin's statement that it's their own doing highlights this paradox. The US, in its attempt to maintain dominance, may be accelerating its decline. China and Russia, in particular, have been at the forefront of efforts to decouple from the dollar. By signing agreements for energy trades in yuan and rubles, they are laying the groundwork for a new financial architecture. India, too, has begun using its local currency for trade with regional partners. These moves are not just symbolic. They signal a shift in global trade patterns that could have long-lasting consequences. But Russia's decision not to fully abandon the dollar shows that this is a calculated process. The BRICS nations recognize that an abrupt move away from the dollar could destabilize global markets, which would harm their economies. Instead, the strategy is to gradually reduce dollar dependence while building up alternatives, ensuring a smooth transition that minimizes risk. As BRICS navigates this complex landscape, one question remains. Can the bloc achieve its vision of a multipolar financial world, or will the US dollar's dominance persist after Russia's change in strategy? The world is at a crossroads. On one hand, the US dollar continues to dominate as the global reserve currency, backed by the world's largest economy and the depth of American financial markets. On the other, the BRICS alliance is making steady progress in creating alternatives that could eventually challenge this dominance. Putin's statement that Russia is not seeking to abandon the dollar, but merely reduce its reliance on it, may signal that the future is one of coexistence rather than outright confrontation. Donald Trump's re-election has introduced a new variable. If Trump follows through on his hints of lifting sanctions and re-engaging with Russia, we could see a thaw in relations that allows the dollar and BRICS currencies to coexist in a more balanced financial system. Putin and Xi Jinping's willingness to speak with Trump suggests a pragmatic approach, where BRICS might adjust its strategy depending on US policies. Ultimately, the future of the dollar and BRICS currencies will depend on whether the global community is ready to embrace a multipolar financial system. If BRICS continues to make strides in developing its payment infrastructure and increasing the use of local currencies, it could set the stage for a gradual shift away from dollar dominance. However, this shift will require careful management to avoid triggering a global financial crisis. So, BRICS stands at a critical juncture. The alliance's cautious approach suggests that while the dollar may not be dethroned overnight, its era of absolute dominance is slowly coming to an end. Do you think BRICS nations will also change their strategy? If Trump fixes all the problems caused by the dollar or the US, is there any point in de-dollarizing? Let us know in the comment section. Do you think coexisting would be better now? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: African politics, the economy, and increasing power. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.
Tell us what you think in the comment section. Like and share the video, and subscribe so that you don't miss any of our African videos. It's the best way to support us.